ورجعنا لكم بعد الفاصل أعزائي المشاهدين، وزي ما قلت لكم في الفقرة اللي فاتت، الفقرة دي هتكون عن المعينات البصرية اللي ممكن نستخدمها في علاج الحول وفي علاجات كتيرة في العيون، بالذات عيون الأطفال. وزي ما بنجيب لكم في كل حلقة مجموعة من الخبراء على مستوى العالم يكلمونا عن الأبديتس في مجال طب وجراحة العين، المرة دي معانا خبيرة المعينات البصرية دايزي جادت من بلجيكا، وهتكلمنا في الفيديو كونفرنس ده عن المعينات البصرية اللي ممكن نستخدمها في علاج الحول وفي علاجات تانية في العينين. هرجع لكم بعد الفقرة دي ونعلق على الفيديو كونفرنس، يا ريت تتابعونا.
Good morning, Daisy. It's nice to have you with us today. It's going to be a great day to increase patient awareness regarding the non-surgical management of strabismus and non-surgical management of squint conditions. Okay, so we're going to start with our first questions. You know that most of patients consider that the treatment of esotropia or exotropia or strabismus in particularly is usually a surgical one. So in your opinion, do you think that we always have to address strabismus in a surgical way, or there is another way in order to start with before we go into surgery?
Well, I think first of all, if you, let's say, if we have children, then first of all, you do a cycloplegic refraction, and then especially in the esotropic ones, but also in the exotropic ones, I would start first with giving the optimum refractive correction to see how vision improves. If you have a hyperopia and an esotropia, sometimes you can already correct the esotropia with your glasses, depending if it's a full accommodative or a partial accommodative esotropia. In case of accommodative esotropia, well, full accommodative esotropia, you don't do any surgery, you stick with the glasses. If necessary, you patch the eye if there is an amblyopic eye. If you have a partial accommodative esotropia, definitely you stick with the glasses also. And then to operate, yes or no, I must say that I'm getting more and more conservative in operation of partial accommodative esotropia, because what we see is that all the accommodative esotropes, they go exo. And so it depends on the angle of the deviation with glasses at distance if we consider yes or no surgery. If we have with the full correction, still a very large angle with glasses at distance fixation, and that the esotropia is very pronounced, we do operate the patients. But if the angle with at distance with full correction is small, let's say less than 20 prism diopters, we don't operate, because we have seen during the years that all the accommodative esotropes, they have the tendency to go outwards. Even without operation, some of them, they have like a spontaneous consecutive exotropia. So in that, in these patients, we say glasses, and then we see before if operation still is necessary or not. If we stay with children and we have a manifest exotropia, then with a large angle or a considerable angle, we do operation too, because if it's a manifest exotropia, in my opinion, exercises don't work, not glasses or something at all. If we have an intermittent exotropia, then we do start with exercises, glasses if necessary, sometimes prisms, it depends a little bit, very small children not. Older people or all adults or grown-ups, you can give prisms just to help them to correct their exotropia, their intermittent exotropia. Because if they have like, let's say 25 prism diopters, and if we give like a small prism, like 2.2 or 3.3, it puts the eyes a little bit in the good direction. And then sometimes it's just easier for the patient to control the intermittent exotropia. So in these cases, we give them convergence exercises. We correct the refractive error, because the better the patient sees, the more easily he can correct his exo deviation. If you have an intermittent exo with an amblyopic eye, then the eye will deviate more often or more frequently. So then try to correct the amblyopic eye so that both eyes see the same. Then fusion is more easily to maintain. If you have done these three things and still more than half of the time the child is going exo, then it depends on what the parents want. Do surgery, yes or no? Mostly at the end you need surgery, but sometimes you don't want to operate immediately on these young children, and then you have other possibilities before surgery. So then if we have paralytic strabismus, then of course most of the time patients have diplopia, and then we correct the patients with prisms if possible. We always try to give them prisms. If prisms are impossible because of the incompetency, then we occlude a glass of the patient to make it more comfortable for the patient. And we try and we give them duction exercises. In case of a sixth nerve palsy, no abduction, and we say to the patient, abduct with one eye. So just also because, in my opinion, if you let the patient do something, that works also in a positive way. If you say, okay, you have a sixth nerve palsy, we can't do anything, it doesn't motivate. So I always say, try to do the exercises, try to find some binocular single vision. And then, for example, if somebody has a sixth nerve on the right side and she can see single on the left side, we also say, okay, try to put the images together, move your head a little bit and keep it together. So we exercise a little bit the fusion capacity. We prism, definitely, until we wait for spontaneous recuperation, yes or no. If after 6-9 months, sometimes a year, depending on the reason of the palsy, it's not over, then of course we operate also on these patients. Then we have the late acquired strabismus patients. They're of course always first refraction errors corrected. Then we see if it's in exo, then we give them exercises. If it's in ESO, you can't do much with exercises. Neither with the vertical deviations, you can't do really exercises. Then also we use Botox in case of, definitely with the sixth nerve palsy, we always give Botox if the palsy is quite heavy, or if it's a paralysis or an almost total palsy, we give them Botox. The acquired esotropic patients, also we give them Botox, if not the children, but if they're a little bit older, we do give Botox. And then surgery we do if things don't get better.
Okay, right.
I think that's a little bit. And what's important also, and that's also what we do here in Belgium, is the follow-ups, because we measure, and then in this way we can see if the situation is going better or worse. So because we say measuring is knowing, guessing is missing.
Right, that's true.
Yeah.
That's very right. Okay. And of course, you know that prisms have both diagnostic and therapeutic roles in managing strabismus.
Yeah.
Can you explain us the difference between using the prism either as a diagnostic tool or as a therapeutic tool? Let's start with the diagnostic one. How do we use prisms in order to get to the right diagnosis?
Yeah, first of all, we use the prisms to measure the deviation and to see if we correct the deviation, if on the corrected deviation, patient sees single or double. And if there is single vision, if it's fusion or is it suppression. So that's, we measure the angle of deviation with the prisms. Then secondly, we measure the area of double vision. And so we correct first the deviation, and then we measure the fusion amplitude, if there is fusion, or we measure the suppression scotoma, if there is suppression. Then we also use a prism, the 15 prism diopter test we use in babies to see, we use it as a screening test to see if there is binocular vision or not, and which of both eyes is the dominant eye. So what we do is we hold the prism in front of the right eye and we see if the child can fuse. Then we hold it base out in front of the left eye and we see if the child can fuse. Then we do base in. Then normally the divergent fusion is not large enough, so there will be double vision. And then you hold it in the other eye and there will be double vision too. So then we know that there is binocular vision, and we also know if there is an alternance, alternating dominant, that both eyes probably see about the same. If you see that both eyes, that there is no convergent fusion, and for example, the left eye is dominant, but with this, nothing has happened. When you do it like this, both eyes go to one side. You do so, like this, base in, nothing is going to happen, and this, both eyes go to the other side, then you know the left eye is a dominant eye, and probably the right eye is a suppressed eye, or the eye with less vision. So this is a test we always use for little children. When they have apparently straight eyes, we see if there is binocular vision, yes or no, and the child doesn't need to say anything because we see the movements. This is one, the 15 prism diopters, which we also use is the biprisma of Grassis. I don't know if you know that.
Right.
So these are two prisms in top of each other, and then you do like this to see if there is a central fusion or a central scotoma. This is also for diagnosis we use it. Then we use the prisms also in case of a torticollis to see if we put prisms, yoke prisms in one or the directions, if the patient has less torticollis, if the vision is better. Let me see, I think I have it. I think we sometimes use it all. I also use it, no, that is not for me. Yeah, if you have patients with vertigo, who have problems with walking, they often can walk better if you put like very small prisms based nasally. Mm-hmm. And then we test them, we give them a flash and they have to walk, and then we see how they walk, and then we give them a flash again, sorry. And then we give the small prisms, we let them walk again, and we see if they can walk straight forward or if they can walk more easily. And sometimes it can help. It's also how we use prisms. And then I don't do it that much, but sometimes in patients with hemianopsia, we put it to give a little bit more on that side. So that's, I think, all we do with prisms for diagnosis. And then therapeutic, we use them to correct binocular diplopia. So, and we give them vertical, horizontal, and oblique, depending on the size of the prism they have. And we always use the lowest prism that's necessary to have binocular single vision.
To alleviate the diplopia. So in such a case, we are using the prism in order to alleviate the diplopia in case of paralytic strabismus. Can this be used with children?
Yeah. Well, mostly children, they it can be used, but then I would give it. In children, I would give them immediately incorporate prisms, not Fresnel prisms, and it depends what type of strabismus they have. I don't give it for accommodative esotropia or for manifest strabismus. We give it sometimes with children who have reading difficulties and who have like a difficulty in convergence, or who have a large exo deviation or intermittent or exophoria at near. Then we can give small prisms to help them to control the exophoria.
Okay, can you explain to the audience what is the concept of the Fresnel prism?
When we give a Fresnel prism, or what do you mean?
You mean the stock-on prism, the prism that you press on the glasses, the Fresnel prism that you stick on?
We always use Fresnel prisms when we know that the deviation can change. For example, in thyroid eye disease, in all paralytic or mechanical strabismus, if patients already wear glasses, then we start with the Fresnel on the existing glasses. If the patient doesn't wear glasses but has diplopia, then we give them prism glasses immediately. If the deviation changed afterwards, then we put Fresnels on the prism glasses. Because a Fresnel, well, I only give Fresnel for the non-dominant eye, because both eyes Fresnel, it doesn't work very well. And the high number of the Fresnel prisms, they don't work very well neither, because you have your vision is getting blurred when you have like prisms more than 10, 15. Then I will easily go to a prism in the glass. It depends also country by country. I know, for example, in India, it's much cheaper to give immediately prism glasses because the Fresnels are much more expensive. In my country, patients get the Fresnel paid back by the insurance or by social health. The prism glasses are not paid back. So that's why we easily go to a Fresnel, because we know the patient doesn't need to pay it.
And you get it in
and that depends.
Yeah, right. Okay. So in your opinion, it's very important for the patient to go through the non-therapeutic modes for addressing strabismus rather than pushing their doctors to go into surgery, right?
Well, I think first of all, you have to try the non-surgical possibilities, and then I'm not against operation, nothing at all. Sometimes I see a patient who is sent to me for prism adaptation, and I tell them, this is much your deviation is too large. This we cannot treat with prisms. You have to have surgery. I think large deviations need surgery. Very small deviations, like till 6-8 prism diopters, for example, you can easily give prisms. So I think they both go together. It's not this or that. It's this or it's both. Sometimes you need to do surgery, and after the surgery, you correct the residual angle with prisms.
Yes.
So I think I always say it's a good team.
It's a collaboration. You have to take the right decision in the right moment and what's suitable for each patient. So what's suitable for this patient is not going to be the best decision for the other one.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It was a pleasure having you with us today, Daisy. You give us quite a help today, and thank you. We're looking forward to you again, sometime again, and we hope you all the best in your career. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure being here with you together. If I may say, if I have a very nice PowerPoint presentation, if you know about prisms, therapeutic and diagnostic use. So if you want, I can send it as a PDF, because the hole is quite big. But if you want, I can send it to you. Because I'm thinking now, for example, what we also do with prisms in a diagnostic way is a prism adaptation test.
Right.
That I forgot. And then we correct the prism to see the maximum angle of the deviation before surgery, for example. We sometimes do that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd love to have this presentation. Please do send it to us. It would be of great help. Thank you so much for your help today. You have been so cooperative. Thank you so much.
It was my pleasure. Thank you very much and have a nice day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
ورجعنا لكم بعد الفقرة دي مع خبيرة البصريات البلجيكية دايزي جادجت اللي كلمتنا عن معلومات مفيدة جدا فيما يخص العلاج البصري، وده علاج غير جراحي لأنواع كتيرة من أنواع الحول. والحقيقة أنا هنا أحب أأكد على حضراتكم أن التخصص شيء مهم جدا في الطب، وعلشان كده إحنا بنثمن دور كتير قوي من الناس اللي ممكن بنسميهم الجندي المجهول في التعامل مع الحالات المرضية بتاعتنا، زي أخصائي العلاجات البصرية وزي أخصائي البصريات وزي أخصائي التدريب البصري. الحقيقة أن دول بيكونوا فريق كامل بيعين دكاترة العيون علشان نقدر نوصل بالحالة بتاعتنا لأفضل نتيجة بطريقة مباشرة وبأقل قدر من المجهود للمريض، لأن كل واحد بيشتغل في تخصصه وبيبقى درسه كويس قوي، فبيقدر إن هو يوصل لأقصر نتيجة في أقصر وقت. الحقيقة فريق طب العيون سواء كان طبيب العيون أو أخصائي البصريات أو حتى أخصائي البصريات اللي بيعملوا لنا النظارات، كلهم جزء لا يتجزأ من فريق كامل بيحاول يوصل المريض لأفضل رؤية ممكنة. نتمنى أن انتوا تكون عجبتكم الفيديو كونفرنس اللي عملناها، وهنرجع لكم بعد شوية مع فقرة أسئلتكم على السوشيال ميديا، ونتمنى أن إجاباتنا تكون فيها إفادة ليكم.